Hello everyone, Joey Knight Jr. back here once again. Today we are back with the comic book reviews, and today we have Isom number 3, the final part of the ill-advised art. As you can see it right there, ill-advised art part 3. And, oh brother, the action did not stop. Like, once the action started, like, you maybe had like a couple of pages of reprieve, like 5 pages at most, of just reprieve, planning for the next thing, and then boom, more action, more drama, more like tense situations that you were thrown into. That's what Isom number 3 was for me from my reading experience of it. And we'll get into light spoiler territory, so I'll just go ahead and say spoilers in the title. I'm not going to get into every single little detailed nook and cranny, just in case you are someone that wants to read this book, but you kind of like want to know what you're getting into when it comes to Isom 3. So that's what we're going to do with this video. It's going to be very light spoilery. All right, so let's get into it. Isom number 3, obviously starting where Isom number 2 left off, and that's with Isom kind of being left with his own devices in the cave with these mysterious beasts that we really don't know too much about. And Isom went after them because they took Sanford. Now Sanford, to get quickly caught up on, he is Avery, Isom, whatever you want to call him. He is Isom's like biggest ally in terms of being there for them both, in the aspect of Isom the hero and Avery the person. Sanford works out on the ranch with Avery, and he helps him out whenever he's Isom, or was Isom. As we saw in Isom number 2, he's only recently taken back the Isom mantle, if you will. Bloodroof's able to get Sanford out of there, which left Isom to kind of deal with the beast, and Isom tries to take him on head on, and he's quickly realizing he's becoming weaker. He doesn't know why, he can't really explain it. He just knows that his punches aren't as hitting as hard as they used to. He's not able to take as much of a beating as he used to. He's getting weaker, and he doesn't know why. Thankfully, one of Bloodroof's hounds is able to make the save, and they're able to get away from the cave with Isom still breathing. Something interesting of note after this initial encounter at the beginning of the comic is whenever Bloodroof, she got Sanford healed up, sent him on his merry way, and Isom showed up, and they were talking about everything that happened. Isom asked Bloodroof if she knew anything about Peekers, and then Bloodroof got a very scared look on her face and tried to brush it off as like, no, those things are a myth. And Isom basically telling her, I'm not so sure. So if Bloodroof got scared about something, I can only imagine with what's to come next, whether it's Bloodroof issue 2 or the next issue of Isom and where the story goes from here. Just, if it's scaring Bloodroof, I don't know what to think. I don't. Next up, we get an interaction where Darren Fontano sends his men out to pay Isom's parents a little visit. No casualties, but just something to drag Isom out into the open. And it does not go well for them. Now, if you've read The Great War of Separation, you know that Isom's dad, Avery's dad, comes from a military background. So you'd think, okay, yeah, he's able to handle himself. Now, something I guess I just looked over, didn't notice, or something in Great War of Separation is that Isom's mom is also an Except. She also has power. She has super speed and strength. And because they had a hold of her, there was 3 or 4 or so men. There's a group of men dealing with Avery's dad, and then a group of men dealing with Avery's mom. You know, the dad was being dealt with on the outside in the backyard, whatever, and she was being dealt with in the kitchen. They got a hold of her, and one of the men swung, a dining room chair at her. I'm thinking, oh no, they crossed the line right there. And she, full on Hulk Hogan, brother, no sold that. And she just went on this monologue about how they made a mistake and they better not make this mistake again after she gets done with them. Oh, my goodness. Like I said, I don't know if I just missed that in Great War of Separation, but apparently the her accept powers and Isom's accept powers are being kept secret, or, well, not like fully secret, but I guess like the extent of them, because Avery's sister knows. I guess just the dad doesn't know. So, or at least he doesn't know the full extent of everything. So it'll definitely be interesting to see when we get more details of the Great War of Separation 2. Maybe we find out a little more about that stuff. Because Avery's mom did reveal that they weren't born with them, but they got them later on. So they're not exactly sure what's going on with that, like why they weren't born with these powers. But Avery's mom also noticed, like, hey, I feel you getting weaker, and I feel that you're losing these powers, but I don't know why either. So it seems like every time we get an answer to something, they like lay the groundwork for like 5 more questions that are ready to be asked as soon as they answer something, which I'm all here for. Yeah, I think that's all I'll say as far as like the actual story of what goes on in Isom 3. Because like I said, I don't want to spoil anything. I want people to still buy the comic if they're interested in it. I don't want to spoil everything. Just kind of like want to lay the groundwork for you. Only other thing else I'll say is that, we do see previous characters, whether they be from previous Isom installments or previous Rippaverse installments in general. Like, we do get Lincoln, the Projexis founder. We get Gooding. We get Jasmine. We get a couple others who have made appearances in previous Rippaverse books. Not going to say everyone, just give you some pieces of what's in there, but not give you the whole cookie. But yeah, and we get a little bit more background on Isom, young Avery. We get a little more background to how he ended up where he's at right now. So, once again, it's kind of like you get an answer, but you get like about 3 to 5 more questions after receiving an answer to one of your other questions, which I personally don't mind. I kind of enjoy it because it keeps me speculating. It keeps me interested in, okay, well, now what? We solve this thing, we figure out this thing, but where do we go from here? And that's the fun of these Rippaverse books, whether it's Isom, Yaira, Bloodroof, Alpha Core, whoever. That seems to be a constant theme with the comics. It's a theme that I thoroughly enjoy and hope that they continue implementing for as long as they're able to with the characters. But yeah, and the final, like, third or so of the comic, when it finally goes down between Isom and Darren Fontano, all I'll say is, because I want you to read it, I want you to go out and read it for yourself. All I'll say is that despite the result that happened, it's definitely not the last time we're going to see those two cross paths. They may have put each other in the rear view mirror for the moment, and they may go on to, figure out other things with other people, other entities, in some people's cases. But it went down, and it's going to go down again in the future. Once we get some other issues solved. Once we get some other answers to some of these other questions we have that have come arised from Isom number 3. And one other thing I will say, when the book ends and you see a Rippersend ad, that's not the end of the book. There is a couple more pages, I guess kind of like a you know, MCU, DC post-credit style pages, because the story ends, then there's a Rip a Send ad, and then immediately after that Rip a Send ad, there's a few more pages of something just to tease you going into the next Isom book, or at least I think it'll be in the next Isom book. So, you know, just keep that in mind if you read Isom number 3. Don't stop when you see the Rip a Send ad. There's a few more pages after that. It has some very important, you know, information going forward. That's all I'm gonna say. I don't want to spoil everything. Just give you a little bit to reel you in, to hopefully you buy the book and you see what I'm talking about and you get excited, just as excited as I do. But yeah, overall, I enjoyed this arc overall of Isom. I do felt the books, Isom's in particular, the books got better and better and better, because Isom 1, it was Eric's first time writing a comic. As far as I know, it was his first time writing a comic. So, you know, of course, I thought Isom number 1 was fine. I thought it was good. It was a good start. And, you know, of course, it's not going to be the greatest thing written if it's your first time. But then Isom number 2 came out, and it was better. And now we have Isom number 3, and it is by far the best of the bunch when it comes to the Isom books. I'm not knocking the other two, but I'm just saying the improvements, you can see the improvements between each book, and Isom number 3 is just the piece of resistance, if you will, for this series. So yeah, I recommend you getting Isom number 3, especially if you've already read the other 2 books. If you haven't read the other 2 books, I recommend you get the other 2 books, so that way you can read Isom number 3. I do think it's a well worth story to get invested in my opinion, anyway. But yeah, that's all I'm gonna cover when it comes to Isom number 3 today. Like I said, I wanted to give you a little bit just to reel you in, and then hopefully you'll go and read the book to find out everything else. It was an enjoyable ride. It was well over 100 pages of just tension and action and drama, and it reeled me in page to page. Like, I could not stop reading the comic. Like, once I picked it up and started reading, we was going all the way through. There was no stopping. There was no read 30 pages today, read 30 tomorrow, read 30. No, we were going all the way through tonight. So I had a great experience with the book. I had a great experience with the series. I can't wait to see where the character of Isom goes from here. I can't wait to see how Bloodroof and Gooding get more involved with Isom's character. Does Isom start getting more involved in future Bloodroof issues? Do we get more Gooding issues and we kind of see more of the Isom and Gooding interactions in those books? I don't know. Who knows? Maybe. We'll see. But yeah, hope y'all enjoyed the video today, ladies and gentlemen. Remember to leave a like, leave a comment, share the video, but most importantly of all, subscribe to Joey Knight Jr., and I will see y'all in the next one. Peace.